Howdy, howdy. This is NineSols speedrunner Hurting Oats here. I've noticed an increase in the amount of people speedrunning this game, and a lot of the newer people seem to appreciate when there are relatively in-depth videos that show off a lot of the tricks. So I figured instead of just having video of a run that's really long that you could watch, I would make a very condensed, shorter video that just explains all of the general tricks that you can do. And I'm going to try to sort these out by category. So the first category here I'm going to do is basic tricks. These are just tricks that you can do even if you aren't doing any glitches. Most of these things are just intentional things that you can do in the game. You might already know a lot of these. These are just to make sure you know about them. The second category is going to be minor glitches. These are things that are definitely unintentional, but they're all considered pretty minor, and you're allowed to use them in any speedrun category, including the no major glitches category. The third category is major glitches. This is going to mostly be about glitches that can't be categorized into a storage-based glitch, as most of our glitches are storage-based. These will not be allowed in no major glitches, but you can use these types of tricks in any other category. The fourth category is going to be about glitches involving ledge storage. Ledge storage is our most commonly used major glitch, and there are many glitches tied to how ledge storage works. The fifth category will be about rope storage. It's another very large glitch that's used a whole lot, just like ledge storage, but not quite as often, and there's a lot less to deal with it. Final category will be menu storage. This trick doesn't do a whole lot of different things, but it is a very visually confusing glitch, and I think a lot of people would benefit from seeing exactly how it works, as it can be quite confusing. But before we do anything, what we really need to do is down patch our game. So first, you just go over to your NineSols. Mine already says the speedrun thing because I'm already set to it. But you would go to properties, you would go to your private betas, and you would input this into your private beta, the Speedrun 2024 0618. It would unlock your beta. Then you would click on this, and then you would select the beta that I already have selected. And that would be all you have to do to down patch this game. This game is actually very kind at down patching. After that, one other option we should do before we talk about any of the actual tricks are you should go into your menu and make sure that your dialogue is set so that if you hold down the button, the dialogue just goes. This is very important just to make your dialogue go a lot faster. So the first trick I'm going to talk about is canceling your slash animation. So you can do this at any time during a slash, but as you can see, when you do a normal slash, it goes about this speed. But if you start jumping at the end of your slashes, you can go quite a bit faster, and you can also use turnarounds to do this. Remember that you can do this at any point, so this allows you to just output far more damage into bosses and helps you set up slow-mo cancel, which I will talk about later when we get into the glitches. The next trick here is dash jumping. This is going to be the main way you're going to move around for the very beginning of the game. You just simply do a dash, and then you do a jump, and there's really not a whole lot to it. It will go slightly faster when you are going uphill, and it will go a little bit slower when you are going downhill. The one exception is this little area where you can hold down and then mash jump and dash to go down quite quickly. Another trick is that you can use talismans for movement in this game. This is pretty self-explanatory. You simply use the talismans as a pseudo air dash. Sometimes you can use this to go quite large distances and skip certain sections of the game, especially if you combine it with the coyote jump. Speaking of the coyote jump, you may use this trick to jump off of areas you are no longer standing on. You simply dash off of a platform and then jump. You need to be a little bit careful about how you do this, as if you dash too close to the ledge of the platform, it will not work. You can also get some extra distance with slashing. The next three tricks are going to be your main movement mechanic throughout the majority of the game. You can either do a jump and then a dash. You can do very quickly. You can do it with a parry at the end, or you can do it with a slash at the end. The slash is one frame faster than the parry, but more dangerous. You may also do this on rails. Another very simple trick is that you may do a skull kick at the height of your jump to go slightly higher than you normally would be able to clear certain areas you normally can't get to. You can also use the bow's knockback to go slightly further than the game intends you to do. This allows you to make certain jumps that normally would not be possible, such as this one. Also, just like the bow, Charge Strike can be used in a very similar manner to gain a little bit of extra distance, although obviously you can't do it multiple times per jump. Well, I'm sure you already knew that you can run up walls that are green. You can also jump up walls that are green to go slightly faster. And slashing up walls when jumping is twice as fast as jumping up them normally. Normally, when you jump into midair, you have a limited amount of slashes, jumps, and other such things that you can use. However, when you perform a parry in midair, or when you perform a talisman in midair, you will refresh all of these options, allowing you to do additional slashes, double jumps, dashes, and all sorts of other things. You can even do this with the bow, assuming that you don't use all of your slashes, which is called a partial reset, where you use 3 or less slashes, use a bow, and you will get your slashes back. This can be used to kill Gaoming extremely quickly. This can also be used to reach areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get by refreshing your double jump after a parry or talisman. I briefly mentioned this before, but you actually gain some height and distance when you slash your sword. This allows you to reach this rope that is slightly too far out of range to grab normally. You can also use it to make jumps that you would normally not be able to make, such as this specific coyote jump, which is really annoying to do. Damage boosting is actually only used for this one specific trick, but it is a very useful trick that allows you to skip almost the entirety of the prison stealth section. The last minor glitch is the fast rope climb. I don't recommend this on controller, but you hit left jump, right jump, left jump, right jump while on a rope rapidly. It's very hard to do on a controller, but go for it if you want. Now onto the minor glitches section. Our first minor glitch is the moon jump, probably one of the least useful minor glitches in the game. You simply hit jump at the start of that cutscene, and it jumps you a little bit further and saves you a very small amount of time. Next is the slow motion skip. This trick's a little weird. You go into slow motion when you kill an enemy, but if you do it with a final blow, you may cancel into a slash afterwards to remove the slowdown effect. To show off respawn manipulation, I'm going to show off minor skip, as it's one of the most insane examples of respawn manipulation. So the main thing to know is we need to keep our spawn point at the beginning area. So we can keep our spawn point at the beginning area by doing various things that we have done so far in the clip. You may do a normal slash, you may do a dash into a normal slash cancel, you may touch corners, you may grab corners, you may touch green walls, you may stand in dangerous zones, as we are doing right now, you may stand in corners, as we are about to do, you may stand in doorways, that we are about to do. Once again, we're going to grab a corner. You may stand on platforms that won't exist all the time, like that. You may climb on ropes. And then we simply fall off the cliff, and our respawn is back at the top. The reason we did that is because we are then able to do that rope storage glitch there that I will explain later when we get to rope storage. A secondary version of this is right here in the outer warehouse area, where we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to abuse the camera, as the respawn manipulation is actually going to put a new spawn point in this area once we finish the hack right here. The spawn point is going to show up right there, and what we are going to do is we are going to try to get our camera to be closer to our current spawn point than the one the game just made for us. So to do that, we are going to get over as far away from that spawn point as we can without starting a cutscene, move our camera, and then fall into this pit. And there you have it. Another fun small glitch you can do is you can actually skip parts or all of these Lear tutorial sections where he teaches you how to use your new move. The first way of doing it is to hit him once in the back at the start of the tutorial. This will cause him to skip one of his 3 versions. As you can see here, he is now already done with the tutorial. The other way to do it is if you have the bow. So if you have the bow, you can simply just shoot him 3 times at the start of the tutorial, and this will skip the tutorial in its entirety. These tricks both work due to a weird situation with Lear's knockback being related to how he determines whether you are completing the tutorial. Another fun trick you can do with the bow is breaking walls from the wrong side. You can do this either on the ground or in the air, but if you do it in the air, it is just a little bit faster because of how you can float into the wall while doing it. I'm kind of surprised that damage and vulnerability abuse is considered a minor glitch, but it is. So if you do something that gives you invincibility, such as a dash or bow right as you hit a damaging thing, you will essentially take the invulnerability frames from getting damaged, but you won't actually take any of the other negative effects. Now we are on to the major glitches category. The first major glitch we're going to talk about is out of bounds. This is actually immediately after the last trick you just saw with me going into that lake. If you dash to the right immediately with either a talisman or a dash, or even using the bow in the wrong direction, you can knock yourself above this stage area. As far as we know, this is the only specific location where this is actually useful, as it is an area that actually has 2 entrances from the roof. Generally speaking, we can end up on the roof of areas, but normally there's no real benefit to doing so, and this is the only time this is ever useful. This is only really used as a backup nowadays, although it did used to get used in the old All Souls and Seals category. If you go for any of the newer routes in All Souls and Seals, you will never actually do this trick anymore unless you want to do it as a backup. And you just jump down here, and look, you can go right into Gomang. Look at that. Bow float is a nice and easy major glitch. You simply hold the jump button and then hit bow while still low to the ground. You do have to leave the ground, but as long as you hold the jump button the entire time and you hit the bow within a few frames of jumping, you will end up floating as long as you hold this jump button. You may move back and forth, left and right as much as you want. You may parry while you are up here if you feel like it, although if you actually perform a parry on something, you will lose your float. But this allows you to cross this auto-scrolling section here and many other sections like it. Next major glitch is low gravity. It only works in this one specific room. If you hit this laser with this grapple point at this angle into this green wall, it'll cause you to jump uncontrollably, and all of your dashes and talismans have very high vertical momentum. Once you grab a ledge, you will lose this ability, so be aware of that. It allows you to get all the way up here and really saves a ton of time. Prison Jade storage is going to be the first storage related glitch we're going to talk about. When you get to this save point in the middle of prison while you are still debuffed, instead of resting right away, go into your Jade menu and equip a Jade that you don't currently have equipped. This will make it so that once you rest, you will get all of the Jades you had equipped before you had rested here will be re-equipped, and all the Jades you equipped just now will be equipped, allowing you to equip more Jades than you should be able to hold. As you can see here, I have equipped both the Revival Jade and the Stasis Jade currently, even though I only have enough spots for one of them. Alright, let's move on to ledge storage. So first, let's explain how ledge storage actually even works. So the first thing you have to do is you have to grab a ledge. You must do a slash while on the ledge, and then you must cancel your slash with one of 4 options, I believe. You may cancel it with a dash, a skull kick, a talisman, or a double jump. For the sake of this video, we're going to mostly be using dashes, so every time you see me grab a wall, slash, and then dash, that is me storing my ledge storage. So to do a vault, you simply store ledge storage, you jump, you slash while holding up, and you will do a little tiny jump. To do a bigger vault, what you have to do is you have to jump and then hold both jump and parry. If you do it too high, you will fall like this. And if you do it low, you will do that. You can use this to go up quite high distances with either of the slash vault or the normal vault. The slash vault is a little faster, while the parry vault is a little bit easier, in my opinion. Also, some important notes about ledge storage are that you will lose ledge storage if you take damage, if you touch a ledge, if you slash without canceling the slash, or if you parry without canceling the parry. Parry float is the same as the bow float, except it requires ledge storage, and then it requires you to hit parry instead of bow after jumping. The setup for a spider leap is basically the same as the setup for a parry float. You are going to grab your ledge storage, and then you are going to parry float into a wall as close to the wall as you can, and you should stick to the wall. After you have stuck to the wall, you may then jump off of the wall to gain some extra height. If you use a spider leap to attach to a wall, you may break it from the wrong side by using a charge attack while on the wall instead of jumping off of it. One more spider leap related trick: if you do a spider leap into a wall and then do a slash skull kick slash, you may slide up the wall. There are two other ways to slide up the wall as well. In this one, you will grab ledge storage and then get to the wall of your choosing. I'm going to show off the Imperium wall because it's the biggest one. So to do this trick, you do a dash, you jump and turn around at nearly the same time. Then you perform a slash while still holding your jump button. And when you collide with the wall, you should end up sliding up it. The speed you go up the wall is related to how much momentum you had when you collided with the wall with your slash. The moon slash trick works in a very similar way, except this time you're going to position yourself right in front of the wall, move a little bit forward, then just simply do a jump, do a slash, and then lightly tap the direction of the wall. If you do it correctly, you should slide backwards in midair without turning around, and you should suction to the wall and slide up it, just like any of the other two wall slide situations. Also, just to show that ledge storage also does air refreshes, just like talismans and parries. I will show that off right here. By performing the slash in midair, we activated our ledge storage, which then gave us all of our abilities back. Okay, moving on to rope storage. The way rope storage works is that if you take damage while climbing onto a rope, you will get knocked off the rope, but the game will still think you are on the rope. The game will keep track of your X position, but not your Y position, and this allows you to do lots of weird stuff. So right here, we're going to use this Roomba to land on our head, causing us to activate the rope storage. And because the game doesn't know where our Y coordinate is anymore, but it thinks our X coordinate is the rope, this allows us to teleport anywhere in a line with this rope, which we will do to get past right here. I had to hold down the down button there, by the way. Otherwise, I would have accidentally activated the rope and teleported into the floor. You can also use rope storage in a static way, like this, where you get knocked out by either a hit or by like dashing or parrying. You can climb up and down as much as you want, and I'm showing off the fast rope trick where you hold a diagonal and mash jump. It doesn't matter which diagonal it is, but it should be an upward diagonal. But you can use this to get to places you normally wouldn't be able to get to. Also, one thing to note about rope storage is that you will lose rope storage if you touch any rope or if you leave the area. Lastly, we have menu storage, revolving around teleport menu storage and teleport menu respawn change. So to do this, you have to go to the main root node in Pavilion, click on it, click on Jades, overload your Jades at the same time you hit the button to switch to status. Once you have switched to status, use your mouse. Yes, this requires a mouse, even if you are on controller. It is very annoying. To highlight your spell style. In this case, it is water flow. Once I have highlighted water flow, I will hit the back button 2 times to go back to this menu. At this point, you go down to teleport and click on it, and you should see an error that says your Jades are at full capacity. Once you see this error, take your mouse and click on the error to make it go away. Once you have done this, the teleport menu storage is set. And to use the teleport menu storage, you simply go back to your Jade menu. Your menu is going to look really weird. You're going to re-cause the same glitch you did before by clicking on a Jade that you can't equip. And now you can move around your teleport menu and use it to teleport in this state. Additionally, when you go to new nodes now, you can click on those nodes and go back into the Jade menu again, and you will see the same thing. And you can now teleport from this node as well, which you normally would only be able to do from the main Pavilion node. This allows you to teleport to places that you should not be able to go to, and allows you to teleport even when the teleport button is blocked, allowing you to skip large sections of the game depending on your category. You can also use this trick while not at a node. This doesn't work quite the same way. Instead, you will go into your Jade menu like before and cause the error again. This will once again put you in a weird screen where you can move around the map in the back of your Jade menu. However, you cannot teleport unless you are at a root node. But what you can do is click on any of these areas and it will change your spawn point to that area so that the next time you save and quit, you will spawn there. However, the game does need to actually save before it actually keeps that spawn point, so you cannot save and quit until you touch a random object, which is why we are going to touch this random object, which saves the game, at which point we can now save and quit, reload our game, and we should show up in Pavilion. So that is all of the basic tricks as of this date, April 25th, 2025. I am hoping to make more videos like this, although they are going to be more specific. I would like to make videos about each individual category if possible, and all of the individual tricks that you would need to complete each individual run, such as any percent, all souls and seals, no major glitches, etc., etc. If you ever want to see any more content from me, feel free to look at this YouTube channel. I'm going to hopefully be updating it more often, and also onto my stream. If you ever want to check out me speedrunning live, I speedrun at Herding Oats, or Herding Goats, depending on how you want to pronounce it, on Twitch TV. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a very nice day.